And we're recording. Awesome. Hey everyone, how's it going? Kiara Franchka here, and today we are going to be doing this Encore presentation, which we did last Thursday, but the feedback we had was phenomenal. Like, I'm still getting people messaging me about this Zoom, so I wanted to do it again to give people who didn't come to the live last week an opportunity to come to this live, because it always makes a difference if you're on a live or if you're on a recording. Lives are just amped up with more energy, and it's just more fun, and you can ask questions in the end, which we will encourage you to do at the end of this presentation. Also, I have James here with me. James and I have literally been talking every single day because we really believe that what we have here, which we're going to show you in today's presentation, is honestly the key to freedom. We both have the same vision in terms of, helping people find ultimate freedom. For us, money is not, we both don't love the concept of having like money just for the sake of it, but we believe that money is what helps people get, what helps them make their dreams come true, and that's what we're all about. So we share the same vision, so that's why we love collaborating, because we can deliver the same message to people, and we're always on the same path. And we want to show you what we have here today, designed and set up for you in order to get your ultimate freedom. So basically, we have a 50K per month strategy, and what we're going to show you guys is a marketing system that we have in place, and which some of our people already are on board with. And we're basically going to speak about how we're going to leverage that. All right, it's basically a replica built off one that was built last year, and it generated 200 million in commissions within 3 years for a group of students. So we have one designed now for us, but for a vehicle we are currently using. I will speak about that vehicle really soon, basically the business opportunity we're in. And you guys can see why we're using that business opportunity, why that specific business opportunity, why not some other one, and why we have this marketing system in place, and how it's designed to help us plug and play, literally like combine the two together and have us generate wealth together. So our vision basically, as I already mentioned, is we want to provide freedom to thousands of people who have the right mindset and the right work ethic. So, guys, this is like, I had mentioned this, but I just love these pictures, because these are actually resorts that actually exist. And this is in Bali, this is in Fiji, and this is in Santorini. And these are like all on my vision board. I'm not a person that loves being average or that wants to be average, and I don't say that in a snobbish way. I just want to live, an amazing life. I don't want to have any regrets when I die. Like, I want zero regrets. I want to be in my deathbed and say, I'm good to go, because I literally lived my utmost potential and had the most amazing life possible with the people I love. And for me, traveling like in style and luxury, that's just one of the things I have on my vision board alongside many others. And guys, when we do this presentation, in the end, of course, we're going to invite you to, if this is something you want to work on with us, obviously we'll invite you to participate. But James and I are picky in the sense that as much as we love working with people, we want to work with the right people. So it's not a matter of, wanting people to join because we want their money. Actually the complete opposite. We don't want your money if this is not for you. So we only want you to be here if you see the same vision, if you are willing to put in the right amount of work. So, and then you're set up for freedom. So with that being said, I'll move on to talking about the solution we have in place in order for us to achieve what we have in mind. So basically, it's all about having the right vehicle built with ultimate finesse. And I put the Tesla there as an example. The Tesla, guys, is like one of the most beautiful cars, and they're designed to ultimate finesse. You know, there's so much thought put into this car, even the leather and everything about it. You know, everything is designed to perfection, and that's what we want to work with, a vehicle that is designed to perfection. Also, you need the right system to put your vehicle to work. All right, it's pointless having a beautiful Tesla, but then the engine doesn't function well, or you know, it doesn't speed when you hit the gas, you know. So you need the right system in order to put your vehicle to work. And last but not least, the top revenue generating activity to get your vehicle to take off at full speed. And we will be talking about, you know, the one thing we have in place so that we really grab people's attention and you know, make the most of the people you're drawing in towards the system. You know, some techniques don't work like they used to. There are new techniques, and we're moving away from dinosaur age. We want to work with what's working today, what's trending, what's hot. So we'll talk about that later on in this presentation. Now, raise of hands. So for those of you on this presentation, raise of hands, do you want to move away from a mediocre life and provide royalty to yourself and your family? You know, and just to give you an idea, like, imagine yourself, like, and it's not, this is possible, guys. It's not impossible, you know? Imagine like traveling in a first-class cabin. That's an Abu Dhabi first-class cabin, by the way. If you ever, I don't know if you ever traveled on one or seen it, but that's a Middle Eastern airline, not Abu Dhabi, sorry, Etihad. That's their first-class cabin. And you have all the privacy you want. You can lay down. And imagine going to resorts like this. You know, I'm just gonna check the chat because I know that people are either raising their hands or I saw someone raise their hands. But so I'm pretty sure all of us want this sort of lifestyle. All right. Now, if this is you guys, I need you to pay attention till the end. Please remove distractions. Okay. The biggest distraction is our phone, so I need you to put that either on airplane mode or silent, so that you listen to everything we have to say. All right. So quick run through the agenda. All right. So first, I'm going to cover the next asset that will create the next generation of millionaires. Then I'm going to talk about the only way to make a real passive income, so you never have to rebuild your business from scratch. And guys, I don't know how many people I speak to every week on Messenger, on email, on the phone, but a majority always tell me, you know, Kiara, I've been in this opportunity and this opportunity, and you know, they're either shut down by the FTC or they were a scam and they ran with our money. So now I'm looking for the real deal. And you know, James and I, that's not what we want for you. We don't want you to be a part of something that you build in. Oh no, it got shut down, or you know, something happened. Now, we're not going to guarantee that, you know, we can't guarantee everything is going to be there forever. I mean, I don't know if I'll be alive tomorrow. I can't guarantee any one of you will be alive tomorrow. For all I know, I can walk out of the door tonight and I get run over, you know? I'm not saying that's going to happen. I don't want to put that out into the universe, but I'm just saying, you know, you never have any real guarantee. But, you know, from what we've seen and what we've worked with and from our experience, this is what we honestly believe is the real deal for you guys. All right, so how you can leverage a system that can make you $2,400 a day after plugging it into our marketing system. All right, we're going to talk even about, you know, follow-up and leads. You know, this system that we're going to be talking to you about provides all that. And then we're going to talk about what's working now in the world of online traffic generation. I did mention you guys need to be working with what's working right now, what's hot, what's trending, all right? So we're going to talk about that as well in this presentation. Now, very, very quick intro, who we are and why you should listen to us. We're going to keep this very brief because this presentation is all about you and not about us. So we just want you to know who you're talking to in case, you know, there are some people who don't know who we are. But my name's Kiara, And I've been doing online marketing successfully for a good 3.5 years now or more. And I've worked in quite a few programs like business opportunities, and I could say I've done pretty well. I've hit affiliate leaderboards. I've spoken on stage as well for a company that was quite hot on the market about a couple of years ago now. But then I came across Bitclub Network, and honestly, guys, it is hands down the best system I came across to date for several reasons, and I'll talk about those later in the presentation. But it resonates with me on so many levels, and the number one reason it does is because they have transparent leadership. And for me, transparent leadership is key. If I feel that there is like some cheesy marketing tactic in the background or some unethical, like unethicalness kind of in the background, that's something I don't resonate with. I walk away very quickly. That's what happened to me with many business opportunities. Every single one, actually, before the one I have right now, is I've always sensed like there was some unethical sort of selling or marketing. And because I'm the person bringing the people to the system, I can't have that happening to the people, that I bring to a system. It doesn't work for me, So here I am today. Extremely excited about my future and what we have in place. I really believe that I'm going places and I can take many people with me. So I'm happy to be here sharing all of this with you along with James. So I'll hand over to him so he can give a quick intro himself.
All right, Kiara, thank you. You can hear me clearly, right?
Very clear.
Awesome. Yeah. So, I have actually been in the network marketing and the home-based business industry and the internet marketing industry full-time for almost 18 years now. It's going to be 18 years in September, full-time. Pretty incredible when I think about it, and it's been amazing, and I really have not taken one day for granted. I meet people often, and something I tell them is that, especially being from New York, it's kind of crazy here in New York with the commuting and the traffic, for those of you that are familiar with the area or that have lived here or been here before. But, I always like to tell people, I got an 8-second commute from my bedroom to my home office, and it's something that never gets old, it's just been an incredible lifestyle, like I said, that I don't take for granted. I'm very grateful for what I get to do for a living. And then I get to work with incredible, talented people like Kiara and so many other people that we get to work with. Too many to list here, but I never really understood the idea of trading time for money, even as a kid. And a lot of that has to do with my father, who was an entrepreneur. He was in the restaurant industry for over 20 years. And as a young kid, he used to take me to work. And I would work in his restaurants as a busboy. It was pretty cool. I would get side tips, and I was a cute little kid, so with these big eyes, and everyone knew I was the owner's son, and probably got some special treatment because of that. But that's not the big deal or what I'm talking about. But it was fun, But the main thing was, I saw my father as the boss. He was in charge. He was running the show, and all the pressure was on his shoulders, whether he succeeded or failed. It wasn't a guarantee that his restaurants would succeed, right? You're running your own business. There's never a guarantee. And this obviously is not for everybody. Like Kiara said at the top of the webinar, some people want that guaranteed paycheck or the guaranteed salary, and they feel that security. And I'm not knocking that or judging anybody that does that, but I always felt like that's a limit, and that's kind of putting me in a box or putting a ceiling over my head. And there's only so high or so much you can do with that. And what I love about free enterprise is the fact that there's no limits. You can write your own ticket. You can write your own paycheck. And I actually thrive in that type of environment where the pressure is all on me. I've grew up as an athlete. I played basketball, football, and especially hockey. Hockey's my number one sport. Still is to this day. I still play to this day, actually, in a league, in a adult men's league, play a few times a week. And, I love the pressure. I really thrive on it. It's enjoyable to me. So, but I never really understood that, even as a kid, like as a teenager, trading time for money. Like I said, it just didn't make sense to me. And I dropped out of college because I just didn't, I had this disgusting feeling in my stomach that I didn't really want to work for somebody else. I didn't really want to work for someone else. I wanted to work for myself. So, you know, when I did that, when I dropped out of college before I graduated, obviously you can imagine how it went over with my family and friends and people that loved me and cared about me the most. The bottom line is they thought I had lost my mind and they thought I was.
James? Okay, could we have a quick technical issue? All right. All right, what I'll do is, let me continue because he probably has a quick technical, he has a technical difficulty, which he will sort out in a minute. All right, let me continue, and when he's back, he can continue. All right, so let's start by talking about the next asset that will create the next generation of millionaires. All right, so basically, guys, technology doesn't go backwards. All right, we've seen CDs replace cassette tapes. James, are you back? Okay, he's not. All right, so we've seen CDs replace cassette tapes. We've seen laptops replace old school computers. And next, guys, we will definitely see digital currency replace fiat currency. Actually, you know, I can't guarantee it, but it's a trend. I mean, guys, don't you see a pattern? Like, you know, technology just never goes backwards in anything we do. If it's going to be more comfortable, more efficient, all right, obviously people are going to actually, you know, prefer the more comfortable method, all right? So, you know, Bitcoin is the biggest, you know, digital currency. I mean, not the biggest, but like the most popular one. So, you know, we've seen how it's allowed us to send, you know, like value between peer-to-peer without the need of a bank, you know, no chargebacks, cheaper, quick. Why wouldn't people favor that over fiat currency, you know? So it's just a matter of time until it will take over. James, are you back? All right, I'm gonna continue because it could be he has an issue. Okay. So let's move on with the show. So guys, as I mentioned, you know, trend is emerging here, and we're seeing a high correlation between lack of trust in the government and more use of digital currencies. So these are just examples: Greece, Brazil, Argentina, and South Korea. There is a huge lack of trust, right? There's distrust in the government, and these are the countries where we're seeing like a huge, like more use of digital currencies, all right? And not to mention, guys, in 2016, a survey conducted in the US asked millennials if they trusted banks. Over 92% said they don't trust governments and centralized systems. Now, guys, don't forget that millennials pave the future. And I was talking in the beginning before we started, I actually received in my Telegram from Bitcoin.com, there was another survey. And the survey revealed that 75% of millennials are more likely to date someone who is into Bitcoin. And in fact, there were actually more statistics, but there was another interesting one. It said that 10% of millennials in the US have sold cryptocurrencies in order to finance their down payment on real estate. And there was another survey in the UK, again amongst millennials, all right? And they found that more than 1 in 5 millennials, and that's the age of 21 to 35 years old, more or less, they see Bitcoin as a better investment than real estate. Like, you know, there are more stats, but I'm not gonna take up, you know, all your time, guys, reading these out, but you can look these up on bitcoin.com. It's a recent article, and super interesting. It just shows you, like, millennials, guys, pave the future, And this is what they're telling us. These are the trends that they're showing us, is that, you know, they prefer cryptocurrency over traditional forms of currency, which is fiat currency. All right. So for the sake of this presentation, I will be making reference to the #1 investment in the world since the 2008 global financial crisis, that being Bitcoin. All right. Bitcoin is the world's first decentralized currency. Okay, it was the first currency that came about that didn't need the bank. All right. Now, if you had invested 10,000 in Bitcoin in 2010, by the end of 2016, you would have had over 200 million. All right. So this is by far like the best performing investment in a short period of time. So it beats gold, it beats silver, it beats any other type of investment. And now that we know where that asset is going over the next several years, we can help you accumulate that asset. All right, so we're going to talk about accumulating Bitcoin legally. All right, so before that, you know, here's how to get Bitcoin and the smartest way to accumulate it. So there are 3 basic ways. All right, you can buy it, or you can sell it for something, or you can mine it. Now, when we mine it, we get Bitcoin at its source, okay? Obviously, Bitcoin isn't made in thin air. We actually have to work for it. You know, fiat currency is literally just paper, printing on paper, and, you know, it's like basic, you know, but Bitcoin, you actually have to work with it. And a lot of cost is involved to actually generate one whole Bitcoin. All right.
Hey, sure, I'm back. By the way, I got some weird technical glitch that took me out for a second, but I'm back.
Okay. Do you want to finish your part before I continue?
I could real quick. I think it'll be a good idea. Trying to think where I left off. I think I was talking about my father and seeing him, you know, be a business owner, and the fact that as I was going through college, I didn't really want to work for somebody else, so I dropped out and started to basically teach myself all the things you need to learn in internet marketing and network marketing. Pretty much self-taught in the beginning. It was pretty brutal when I first started because there was not as much training, and as obviously there wasn't YouTube back then. This is like when the internet marketing industry was really first starting to get going. So it was kind of the wild west, and everything was just pretty much self-taught, and a lot of mistakes, a lot of you know, trial and error, things of that nature. But like I was saying, even though everyone in my family, for the most part, thought I was nuts, I knew deep down to my core it was making the right decision, and I definitely have zero regrets. You know, I tell people all the time now I'm a proud college dropout. No offense to people that go to school and go that route. That's very difficult, and it's incredible when people have that type of commitment and they go that way. For me, it just wasn't for me. So fast forward to last year, and I was really fascinated by cryptocurrency and Bitcoin. I had been involved in that space for several months, and I figured out very quickly that I had to find a vehicle that would allow me to acquire as much Bitcoin as possible and some of the other top blue chip coins, and do it in a way where people can, and myself and people I wanted to work with, could actually earn these coins, right? Not have to come out of pocket for them. Because even back then, think about last year, it's pretty crazy, but 2017, in the beginning of the year, Bitcoin was under 1,000 a coin. And even then, once I really understood how it all works and how blockchain technology worked, I knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that this space was going places, and this was not going to be this level for much longer, and that we really didn't have a ton of time. The window as far as monetizing this space, the cryptocurrency space, was just a few short years, you know? So I was looking and looking for months and months, and just like Kiara alluded to earlier in the webinar, you know, there's a lot of scams in this industry, in this space, especially just a lot of money games, things that are built on sand, not built to last. And her and I think very similarly in regards to this. You know, we don't have any interest in getting involved with anything like that, because we really do care about the people we work with, and we don't want them worrying when they go to bed at night that when they wake up, you know, the app is not going to be there, or the deal is not going to be there. I don't even call those other things companies. I call them deals, because they're just not real. But luckily, we have a mutual friend, Kiara and I. He's on the Zoom tonight, Pete out of San Diego. He contacted me in late May and shared this with me. And he had said, you know, he had been a passive investor and a passive customer for about 1.5 years, and was just blown away by his passive returns. And at this time, he decided he was going to start to build the crowdfunding side of the opportunity. And when he showed it to me, it was like, whew, I was just blown away. Once I really looked at it and it took some time to learn how it all works, I got so excited because it was exactly what I was looking for, and I knew it was legitimate and it was a real deal, and this was not going anywhere. And I was relieved because for a while I started to lose a little faith that I was going to find what I wanted. But just real quick, as far as my history with Bitclub Network, you know, I've been a part of it now for a little over a year. Got started officially June 1st, 2017. And I was excited when I first found it, like I said, and I first saw how it worked. But it's exceeded all my expectations. You know, it's even better than I originally thought, and we're just getting stronger and stronger. And I'm really excited because Kiara and I have been working with Pete pretty closely when we started last year, and we went on pretty good run, our first run. And I always just like to throw this out there. I mean, when you combine her sales organization and my sales organization, I mean, we did almost $5 million in sales pretty much in less than 6 months without any type of marketing system, which we're going to talk about a little bit later, which gives you a very competitive advantage, in my opinion, to have an actual marketing system that you can use and provide to people that join your team. So we're really excited because if we were able to do that with really just grinding it out, manually contacting people, now we have a system that's completely scalable, completely duplicatable, and we're just really excited about it. So I don't want to take up too much time in this part. I want to throw it back to Kiara so she can continue. Sorry about that technical glitch, everybody, but go ahead, Kiara, continue.
Thank you, James. I appreciate you so much. Don't worry about the glitch. Basically, we'll go back to what we were talking about, which is how to get Bitcoin and the smartest way to accumulate it at low risk. Because, guys, I mean, many of the opportunities we saw last year that failed were involved mainly in trading. And I honestly I don't know much about how those worked, but you know, many of them just fell apart. And even if they don't, or if you're doing trading yourself, the problem with trading is it's quite high risk. So if you want to accumulate it, you know, I'm not saying it doesn't work, it does work, but you are literally accumulating Bitcoin at high risk. So we want to show you a way where you can do it at low risk, right? So basically you buy it, the way we would do it at low risk is by mining it, all right? So literally getting Bitcoin at its source, all right? It's literally like buying a machine that prints gold versus just buying gold and storing it in a safe, all right? So we want you to look into, you know, we want you to understand the idea of buying a miner, a Bitcoin miner, which generates the Bitcoin versus just buying your Bitcoin in exchange for your fiat currency and just holding it, all right? If you're just gonna hold it, nothing's gonna happen to it, all right? The value will increase, just like buying gold, sure, and you can sell it, you know, when it's increased in value, or you can buy the machine that actually makes it, and you'll have a consistent amount of Bitcoin being generated for you. So that's what we're gonna talk about. Okay, I'm just gonna check the chat because it looks like someone said something. Yeah, golden eggs are great, but I would rather own the goose that lays them. Yeah, we love using that terminology. So more about Bitcoin mining for those of you that are new to it. So basically the Bitcoin network is secured by individuals called miners, right? And miners are rewarded, you know, newly generated Bitcoin for verifying transactions, all right? So mining Bitcoin will allow you to accumulate what you originally purchased legitimately by investing in the asset that actually generates Bitcoin itself. That is the Bitcoin mining hardware. Guys, that's me in Iceland with my best friend last year. We're holding a miner there. They gave us one each. So this is a facility, it's the second biggest one in the world. You can even look us up. Well, the facility is Bitclub Network. So probably most of you already know because we mentioned the name already. But they have a facility in Iceland and they're opening a second one in Montana. And I went to visit it because I knew nothing about Bitcoin at the time when I was introduced to it. And I actually found out about it through a guy named Joby, who I was introduced to by Pete, who is on this webinar. I met Pete in San Diego. I'm such a small world, guys. You know, I met Joby, and Joby was like, why don't you come to Iceland? And it was like in 10 days, and I was like, okay. It was like such a quick like trip, but it was one of the best ones of my life, to the point that I'm actually considering going again in November, because they have tours again. So if you guys are actually interested in seeing a Bitcoin mine, you guys can go visit when they have tours again in November. And all you have to do is reach out to the person who brought you into this webinar, just ask them, you know, about how you can get to see this facility in November. So yeah, so I went to see this, and that's me holding one outside the facility. All right, and there are two ways you can get involved with Bitcoin mining. All right, so you can either buy the Bitcoin miners and maintain them at home. All right, however, there's an issue with that, in the sense that, especially if you live in a tropical climate. All right, let's say me from Malta. Let's say I wanted to do this in Malta. It's not going to be very profitable for me, because the electricity costs to actually, you know, keep these machines going is very high, you know, whereas having them in a place, let's say like Iceland, because this is in Iceland and it's cold all year round, you know, it's different, because it keeps the machines cool without needing to generate so much electricity, and it keeps the electricity costs down. All right, so the second way to do this without having to do them yourself at home, all right, and keeping an eye on them, is by going to a Bitcoin mining company such as Bitclub Network. Okay, they do all the hard work for you. They purchase the hardware, they set them up, and then you maintain them for you. Guys. All right, sorry, that was background noise, so I had to mute. So they do all the hard work of purchasing the hardware for you. They set them up, they maintain them. And guys, trust me, it's a lot of work. I know people who actually do this from home, and they're like, it's like babysitting. You have to keep an eye on them. And there's another problem with doing them yourself. You know, these machines, what they're doing is they're solving these huge mathematical equations. Like I said, you're actually working for the Bitcoin. And they solve these huge mathematical equations to actually be rewarded the Bitcoin. And if you mine alone, it's harder to solve those equations. Whereas, you know, if you're actually joining like a club like Bitclub Network, since we are bringing all our machines together, all our miners, all right, we are building a huge supercomputer, all right, we're crowdfunding together, we're buying all the miners in bulk and plugging them into one another, solving the equations together. And because we have more processing power, we are more likely to solve you know, these equations and get rewarded more Bitcoin in the end. All right, now if you want, you can also have your miner shipped to your door through Bitclub Network. However, we don't recommend it. All right, that's the whole point of joining Bitclub Network, is to actually have someone do all the heavy lifting for you. All right, now what happens with your miners? Let's say you actually had to buy a miner with Bitclub Network. All right, what happens? So what happens is your equipment, okay, so they buy it for you, it's shipped to Iceland, they plug it into the rest of the supercomputer, and it's going to help secure Bitcoin transactions and secure the network. Now, for all Bitcoin transactions that take place to our data center, we get rewarded in Bitcoin for securing those transactions, and all miners get paid equally in Bitcoin. All right, and this is how you accumulate Bitcoin and make more than what you originally purchased. All right, now why Bitclub Network? All right, we are on the hash rate distribution. You can look us up. This is a third-party website. You can see that we are, you know, like one of the top 10, and we are the only company on the hash rate distribution that will allow you to mine with us. If you had to knock on, you know, other doors, they'll be like, nah, can't take you in. All right, so we are actually legit. All right, we have members that visit the facility a few times a year. I was one of them, and if you guys want, you can make that happen for yourself. You can go in November. All right, and we're not going anywhere. We have a Montana facility going live in August. So obviously they have a longevity plan here. If we didn't, guys, we wouldn't be opening a facility in Montana. It's too much work to actually do it for the sake of shutting down tomorrow. All All right, so they're gonna have like 2,000 petahash installed by December, and that will be just Montana facility alone. All right, so yeah, we actually exist. That's inside the data center. For those of you that actually decide to go to Iceland, by the way, you can't go in and just take pictures. Obviously, a lot of security in there, so people are not allowed to take pictures inside, but they do have a photographer that takes the picture for you. And in fact, I'm there, I'm little. So this is the picture I have inside the data center. All right, now crowdfunding with Bitclub. So basically, it's all about bringing people together versus mining it individually, all right? Because if we mine together, it overcomes mining difficulty as Bitcoin grows in popularity, all right? So the more Bitcoin is going to become popular, all right, the more people are going to use it. What's going to happen is that the mathematical equations will become more complex. So it really helps that we are crowdfunding together and have this huge supercomputer solving the equations versus being someone all alone trying to mine by themselves, all right? Now, together, what happens is if we do this together is we can buy in bulk, all right? When we buy in bulk, we can bring the cost down by 60%. And because of that, because of this amazing price cut, all right, Bitclub can compensate us generously for bringing people in. And because they have so much room for compensating us, they've literally designed the most beautiful compensation plan I've seen. And I've seen many compensation plans. Nothing, I promise you, nothing has come close to the one I've seen with Bitclub. And if you guys decide you want to get started, all right, it's a simple one-off membership fee of $99 and just buying a pool, okay, and I'll tell you the difference. So $500 gives you one miner, $1,000 gives you two miners, $2,000 gives you four miners, or you can dip in all three pools and pay $3,500. That will give you 7 miners, all right? And again, you pay these once, unless you decide you want to buy more miners, of course, but the membership fee is one-off, all right? No hidden fees, no monthly membership fees. It's a dream come true, okay? Other companies will be like monthly membership fees and this and that, all right? Now, each miner will mine Bitcoin for 1,000 days. However, we have this amazing repurchase on everyone, which means that Bitclub will take a percentage, all right, and they will put it into new machinery for you, all right? So like with pool 1, you will see 50% repurchase, and pool 2, 40%, pool 3, 30%. That means that, let's say you just have pool 1, they will take 50% and put it back into new equipment. The reason they do that, guys, is your miners need to be updated. It's like an iPhone. Today I don't know, like a few years ago we had iPhone 5. Today we have iPhone 6s. I don't know what letter we're at now, but there's always a newer version and always more updated version of technology. It's the same with these miners. And because the mathematical equations are getting more and more complex, we need more advanced software in place. So this is why there is the repurchase, and not to mention, what happens is that by the end of the 1,000 days, because of this forced repurchase, you have new miners in place already, which means you never run out of equipment and you don't have to reinvest from scratch. So this is why I'm saying you have an asset here that you're going to invest in that is going to, generate Bitcoin for as long as, as long as you're probably alive. So if this is something, if guys, for those of you that are not in Bitclub yet and you're on this presentation, if this is something that interests you, you need to get back to the person that sent you to this presentation and they will guide you. All you need to do is tell them where you're at, in the sense, like, do you need help with getting Bitcoin? Where are you in the world? Because it makes a difference, because they would need to recommend an exchange for you. And they can guide you through the whole process of getting the Bitcoin and getting your miner set up with Bitclub Network. And with that being said, I can move on to the next part of the presentation. All right, so let's talk about probably the most exciting part of this presentation, which is literally the answer to true freedom, okay? So the only way to make a real passive income, so you never have to rebuild your business from scratch. And I'm speaking from experience here. You guys can drop, if you want, your comments in the chat. But how many times have you invested in a business and then have to start all over again because it got shut down or because your sign-up stopped paying their monthly membership fees? You know, because I had this so many times, guys. I would start a business, I build it up, and then all of a sudden, they shut it down or they change the compensation plan, and I'll be traveling somewhere in the world and I have to stop enjoying myself because, you know, they've shut down the business opportunity or something happened and I have to rebuild it all over again. That is something I don't want for myself or for any of the people I bring in to what I'm referring them to. And I'm pretty sure you guys want the same thing for yourselves. So this part of the presentation is really important for you to understand, because with Bitclub Network, we can really create true freedom. And we recently had a Zoom call, James and I, with the team, and we were lucky enough to have one of the founders, Joby. He hopped on and he was on Bitclub Island, and this island was gorgeous, and he was talking about ultimate freedom and how he's been traveling the world thanks to an opportunity like Bitclub, because, you know, because of the passive income stream that's attached to it. All right, so let's talk a bit about that. All right, so why does Bitclub Network's compensation plan offer true wealth? How is it going to give you ultimate freedom? So first off, the membership fee we have is one-off. So this allows us to have 100% retention, all right? Now, Bitclub will reward you for bringing people in for life. So you have your front-end commissions. So let's say you're selling miners, all right? You're gonna get one-off commissions. But then there are back-end commissions, which create the passive income stream for you, all right? So you know how I spoke about the repurchase commissions? So every time Bitclub does a repurchase on your behalf, they take a little commission and they pass it up to your upline. So all the people you bring in, so let's say last year I got in close to about 200 people, 175 to 200 people. So every single one of them has a membership and a pool. And you know, every time there's a repurchase done by Bitclub, I get a percentage, all right? And I get it in Bitcoin, guys. So that's another thing you need to understand. I'm being paid in Bitcoin. Last year, Bitcoin was the value was less than what it was this year. So anything I made in terms of repurchases last year is worth more this year. So imagine you build Bitclub this year, and let's say you bring in at least 100 people. Imagine getting repurchases next year, and Bitcoin is worth more, okay? So so because of this is why we have this is why we have a passive income stream. Now nobody ever runs out of miners due to forced repurchases. So you're always going to have an asset generating Bitcoin for you. We will always get rewarded in Bitcoin, which is amazing in my opinion. We are accumulating an asset that appreciates over time, all right? So again, you get rewarded in Bitcoin, that appreciates over time, all right? So this is true passive income. This is what's going to lead to your freedom, all right? So a bit more about the compensation plan, and then we will move on to talking about the marketing system that we have in place to help us work with Bitclub Network, okay? So how you can earn $2,400 a day with Bitclub. So this is the binary structure we have. So we have a binary structure, okay? And it's super simple. Now the way we work in our community is, so for example, Pete is my upline. And what he does is he builds one site for me. So he does 50% of the hard work for me. I do the same for my people. Like if you had to see every single member under me that's on my right, they all have credits, right? So all they need to do is build their other leg, their left leg, all right? And every 15 credits on each leg cycles, you get one cycle and it's $200 in Bitcoin. So once again, it's in Bitcoin. So if you hold onto it next year when Bitcoin is more in value, it's going to be worth more. All right. And so again, within our community, the way it works is we like to really work as a team. Like Pete, James, and I, we worked really closely together last year, and we cycled big time. Like I've had days where I would like make insane money. Like it was freaking incredible, and it was just the start. It was just the start. And with BitClub, guys, you can cycle up to $2,400 a day, all right? It really depends on your rank, of course. So, you know, we have ranks. So when you start, for example, I believe, James, correct me if I'm wrong, once you start and you just have a pool and the membership, you're a miner, right?
That is correct, 100%, yep.
All right, so as a miner, when you start, you can cycle up to 4 times a day. So that's $800 in Bitcoin, plus those commissions you get on the front end for the miner, all right? One more thing, just so that you guys are aware, let's say you get in someone with 1 miner, you get 2 credits. If you get someone with 2 miners, you get 6 credits, all right? Just so you get an idea of how much it takes to get 15 credits on each side. But don't forget that someone is doing 50% of the work for you. And that's why we have this marketing system. So if you get someone with 4 miners, you're gonna get 12 credits. And I've had multiple people that got the founders, what we call the founders position, where they buy all 3 pools, and I would get 21 credits like that, you know? So that was pretty amazing. So yeah, so our aim, guys, is to have the marketing system work for all of us and get people ranking, all right? Because if we're all building this together and we're all putting in the work to build it, you know, we can easily all hit up to Mega Monster, okay? But James and I and Pete, we can't hit these ranks if we don't put in the work to help you guys, all right? We cannot hit this rank if our people are not hitting these ranks right below, right? So that's why it's in our best interest to have something here that's creating wealth for all of us. So it's a win-win, all right? And I only scratch the surface. You know, we have more commissions just for you getting people in with like miners. So literally, you sell a miner, you have those front-end commissions for the miner, and then you have, you know, let's say you're building your team and your team is building alongside you, all right? Once you start ranking, all right, let's say you hit the top rank, Mega Monster, you get overrides. These are called overrides. So basically, if people beneath you cycle, you get up to 10 levels deep of $10 commissions. And these are amazing because these really add up. When I used to see them, I used to be so happy.
Yeah. Let me throw some out there, Kiara, real quick. You guys think maybe $10, it doesn't sound like a lot, but this is as your team gets bigger and bigger, and as she's alluding to here, and as you rank up, and it's not as difficult to hit the higher ranks in this comp plan as you may think. And we could definitely talk more about that once you're on board, but we definitely have a plan to help people get there as quickly as possible. But you think, oh, it's just $10, but they really do add up. And obviously, the bigger your organization gets and the more successful it gets, I mean, you can have some big days just from this one component of the compensation plan. And, you know, it's just one of many different ways that you get paid. So really exciting stuff. And I do want to throw one other thing out there real fast. You guys know the amount of experience I've had. I've never seen so much duplication before in any team I've ever built. I mean, incredible duplication. And we are just getting started. Like Kiara said, we've got so much more to give. And we're really excited for this next 6 to 12 months and beyond. So really cool stuff. So back to you, Kiara.
No worries. Thanks for that. So yeah, so all this and more, we have level up bonuses, generational bonuses, but you guys this is stuff that you will pick up once you're in the club and you're building the business. Because I remember Pete telling me, the binary structure is amazing and you have all these bonuses and commissions, and I was like not getting it. But once I was in it, I was like, that's what he's talking about. Like, this is freaking amazing. Like, it was, I mean, I've done well with other companies, but last year was like it was just blew my mind how building BitClub brings so much wealth to you. So I'm excited to bring it to other people, and that is where the marketing system comes in place. So this is where James gets to talk to us about the marketing system, and I can't wait for you guys to hear all about it because he really explains it well. And I know he's put in so much work, guys, into this, like behind the scenes for a good few months. So I'm just gonna let him, give you like all the details and everything you need to know. And yeah, so it's all yours, James. The show is yours.
All right, thank you so much. Excellent job on the presentation as always. You always do a great job on these Zooms. It's always
thank you.
You got it. It's always great sharing the stage with you. So yeah, this is something we are very, very excited about because, like I said, the success our team has had in basically the first year was phenomenal, and we had a blast, and we've continued to have so much fun. But the way we did it, in my opinion, is more like old school way, one-on-one, reaching out to people, sending videos, to one person and then following up and, hey, did you watch it? How did, and although that works, it's a bit of a grind, and most people, not that they're not willing to do it, there are definitely some people that are not willing to do that, right? But the bottom line is most people don't have the time. Most people have a full-time career, they have a family, their time is very limited, but something like this doesn't require actually a ton of time. It requires consistency. So in other words, if you only have 7 to 10 hours a week to put into it, if you put that time in every week and you're doing the right things as far as revenue producing activities, which we train on all the time for people that are already a part of our team, you can have incredible results. And in a very short amount of time, if you do it right, you can actually end up earning more than your full-time job or your full-time career in a relatively short amount of time. I mean, I'm full-time in this industry, like I said, and one of my greatest joys is assisting somebody to achieve that goal if they want to. Not everybody wants to work from home full-time, but I do come across a lot of people that have tried many times and never got there. So, this is a vehicle that can definitely help people achieve that goal. And like I said, it's not so much about the amount of time you have, it's all about being consistent and using the time wisely. Now, once again, the grinding way works, it definitely works. You just got to get this information in front of people. And if you do it enough, there's no way you can't succeed, because the quality of the information and the quality of this offer, the value that it brings to people is just too high. And if you're sharing it with quality people and you're doing it the right way, there's something called framing in marketing. And it all depends on how you frame the information. Think about a piece of art. You can change the frame on a piece of art and it'll actually change the way the actual painting looks. It'll change it in a bit. It's pretty wild. If you look into this, you could research this. So framing is very important when it comes to marketing. And we've had a lot of people get started with us here in BitClub that other people have presented to them before in the past. And unfortunately, that person didn't really represent the offer and the opportunity and the company in the best way possible, in my opinion. And it's probably not their fault. There's a lot of amateurs out there being taught by amateurs in this industry. And I take a lot of pride in being a professional. I'm a pro at this because I've done it for so long. This, all I have on most people is just time, but I take it very seriously and I work on my craft consistently and I do everything in my power to get better in all different areas that you require to get better in, right, to be successful. But there's a lot of amateurs out there teaching amateurs. So that's something that I have kept in mind, and I wanted to find a way to give our team a competitive advantage for themselves, not to compete against other people, just to get better results for themselves and make it simpler, make it a way where I understand people have families. I understand they have a full-time career. I mean, I know some people, when I first start working with them, their wife is working a full-time job, maybe two, maybe the husband is working 2 jobs. It's obviously difficult out there. People are struggling just to get by week to week, month to month. And it's awful. I hate to see that because like we said at the top of this webinar, life is way too short not to enjoy it as much as you possibly can. And I agree with Kiara 100%. It's not about the money. money is a bit overrated if you think about it. It's all about what that financial abundance and that prosperity can do for you, your family, the people you care about. What can that do for you? What type of freedom can that provide you? Maybe it's as simple as allowing you to take your family on, 2 or 3 more vacations a year instead of just 1 a year. That makes all the difference in the world, right? Maybe it's just the ability to have more time with your family and the people you care about. So that being said, I've been attempting to get a marketing system in place for our team for a while now, pretty much since the beginning of this year. And I had a few failed attempts. I invested my own money putting some systems in place, and I wasn't going to bring it to the entire team until it was right, until I knew I had something that would actually produce for the team. And this happens, it just, you gotta put some things out there, test it and see what happens. And it just, none of the pieces came together perfectly. And I couldn't bring it to the team until in May of this year. I reconnected with a friend that I've known for over 15 years. And that's what he does. He builds marketing systems. That's his bread and butter. And he has also 20 years of experience in the network marketing industry, full time. And like we have here on this slide, I mean, one of his systems he built a few years ago, him and his team, they did $200 million in commissions. That's not sales, that's commissions, banked money, him and his team in about 3 years. And that's just extraordinary. And that was a system he made several years ago. He's gotten a lot better now. He's gotten his craft. He's similar to me. He's always working on his craft and looking to raise the bar. Last thing I want to do in my life, in any area of my life, is become stagnant, become complacent, right? So I'm always looking to find another level, another gear. And I believe everyone can do that if they really want to. Not everybody wants to, and that's cool, but that's my personality. See, my cat Bella agrees. So, whoa, give me a second. She just crashed onto my desk. No worries, nothing I can handle. So I had this in mind this whole time. I said, I really would love to help our team. We're really crushing it. We're getting so much duplication, but there's definitely a simpler way, because I've used systems like this in the past. And when I reconnected with Don, it was great because we were right on the same page pretty quickly. We spent a lot of time having conference calls and kind of hashing out the vision of what it would be and how it would look. And he's more science and I'm more art. If you think about it, it's art and science. I'm more feel, heart, instincts, and he's more technical, more analytical. So it's a good team. He definitely has art in him as well, and I have some science in me as well. But I'm more art and he's more science, if you follow what I'm saying. So we worked it out together, and then he put together this marketing system that just blew me away. A capture page video, a sales video presentation, that the more people we shared it with, the more excited I got, because it just confirmed what I already knew, that this is something really unique, something special, nothing else out there like it. It's not hypey, it's not salesy, or we're not trying to hype people up and convince them to get in. It's just very educational, but at the same time, it shows them very clearly what we have here and why it's so important to get involved now, that the time is running out, and that the next few years, the window is going to close as far as monetizing the cryptocurrency and the Bitcoin space in a massive way, right? There's still going to be an opportunity down the road. It's just not going to be as ginormous as it is right now. So we started working on it right away, and we put it together. And, this is one of the stats of 200 million, but there's another company that he built a system for last year in the Bitcoin space. And, the first 3 years they used that system, the first 3 months, no, the first 3 weeks, third time's a charm. The first 3 weeks they used the system, they produced over $200,000. So, and in that particular company, I don't feel it comes even close to what we have with Bitclub Network. I'm a bit biased, but I feel like we've got the best of the best as far as the Bitcoin cryptocurrency space. So the bottom line is, we feel now that we're poised to really go on an incredible run here with our team. And this really stacks the deck in their favor. Anybody that's on our team and that has access to this system. We talked about it before. Well, actually we didn't. I want to just cover it real quick. It's important because in the first couple of years, the first 3 years Bitclub Networks was in business, $2.5 billion in sales, which is extraordinary in the network marketing industry to get that amount of that level of success that fast in an industry that's a baby. Let's face it, Bitcoin mining, it's such a baby industry compared to some other industries. Think about health and nutrition, travel. These industries have been around for decades. So 2.5 billion, in the first basically 3 years, and now the next 2 to 3 years, we're projected to do $10 billion in sales. And I'm confident that as a collective company, we're going to do it. And I know Kiara, myself, Pete, a bunch of us on our team, we want a nice little piece of that 10 billion, and we want to help as many people as possible to claim their piece of it as well. There's enough of the success pie to go around for all of us. That's how I feel. I have an abundance mentality. There's a lot of people out there with a lack mentality, or they think it's like scarcity. There's not enough to go around. I believe the polar opposite. So the bottom line is the system is live now. It's ready to go. And it's just really, really cool. One other system I want to talk about that Don had built a few years ago was in the travel industry. I got plugged into his system then, and it was extraordinary. I mean, because in less than 3 months, it had produced almost $100,000 worth of profit for me, and the main reason was because of his marketing system and the way it converted potential customers or potential clients and into customers. So what I want to do now is just get into how the mechanics of the system work real quick, and then we're going to open this up for Q&A. So get your questions ready, and that's my favorite part of the presentation. And Kiara, if I missed anything, just make sure you jump out and let me say it. But do you want to go to the next slide, or just keep it on this slide? I'm not sure what the next slide is.
The next slide is about how it's going to work in terms of,
Beautiful.
Yeah, okay, so I'll leave it to you.
I got you. Yeah, thanks. Appreciate that. Yeah, well, actually, go to the next slide. You click back. We're good to go. Yeah, so that's what I wanted to get to. Perfect. The mechanics of how the marketing system works. And both Kiara and myself were big fans of Gary Vaynerchuk. And if you see any of his information, his videos that he puts out, his content, his books, I mean, I get everything that he produces like instantly because he's so incredible. He's such an incredible businessman. He's such an incredible marketer. He's extremely, extremely intelligent, and he knows what he's talking about. And I like to study successful people, like to model success. And what you want to do is the market will dictate where you need to put your focus and your energy. A lot of people will focus on themselves and what they like or don't like and think that's what you need to do, but that's not the right approach, right? For example, cell phones. These days, people are always on their cell phones. Look at this picture. I think Kiara said that's in Tokyo, but that's everywhere. I see this in New York. I see people walking in Manhattan. They're on their phones, and I've literally had to stop people from walking into oncoming traffic because they're on their phones and not looking where they're going. It's insane. And although that's crazy and it's a bit sad that that's how most people are, they're so addicted to their phones. From a business standpoint and a marketing standpoint, it's actually an advantage for us if we capitalize on it, right? So the marketing system we have is a mobile marketing system. In other words, when someone hits our website, they don't put their name and email in, they put their name and their cell phone number. Okay, because email marketing is pretty much, it's a dinosaur. It doesn't work as well as it used to. It still works to some extent, but think about it for yourself. If you get a text message or a notification on your phone, how fast do you look at it? I mean, if you're not doing anything else, more often than not, you look at it very quickly, right? That's everybody for the most part. So we understand this, and that's why we're going with mobile marketing. So the quality of leads that'll be generated through this system are a much higher quality lead, because first of all, it's a living, breathing, real person, right? They have to put their cell phone number in once, and then they have to confirm it once they get a text message on their phone with a PIN code that proves that, hey, this is a real person, and also gives us the permission to consistently send them messages. That's what keeps it above board and legal. And people can opt out at any time very simply. We don't want to force people to hear from us if they don't want to. Now, once somebody opts in, what we have is a message that pops up and says something along the lines, thank you for opting in. You're going to be hearing back from one of our team members very shortly. We're going to make sure, we want to make sure this opportunity is right for you and you qualify, because we just can't work with everybody, because we flat out can't. There's not enough time to work with everyone, and we want to really just work with the best of the best, and also with the people that this opportunity is a good match for, because it's not for everyone. And we have a team of people that we've trained that are a part of Bitclub Network that are going to interview. This is an option now. You don't have to have this, but it's a part of the system, and I highly recommend it. They'll basically interview your potential team members, your potential sales or prospects, excuse me, your potential like new Bitclub team members for you on your behalf. So you could be at the movies, you could be on vacation, you could be out to dinner with your family, and this marketing system and the people working with it can be working for you on your behalf, basically. Very powerful, because instead of you having to chase after all your leads, you have a team of people doing that for you on the front end, right? And then once they do qualify, if they qualify, they'll be put to the second step, which is the sales letter, or excuse me, the sales presentation, which is a much longer video. And for those of you that haven't seen this yet, I would definitely recommend you get back to the person that invited you here and find out if they have the marketing system. If they don't have it yet, they're probably going to have it very soon. So just stand by and be patient. They'll get it to you as soon as they get hooked up with it. So you can go through it yourself and see how it works. But, you know, the sales video is designed to educate them on this Bitcoin space and why, you know, mining on your own is really not going to work. Kind of what we covered here, but in a little bit more extensive, a little more information. And it does an incredible job. Like I said, I've had people tell me they've watched it 6, 7, 8 times because they were so impressed by the quality of it. And from there, the final step will be, we're going to have a Q&A Zoom. Bit different than this type of Zoom, because this Zoom is more of a presentation. We're taking time going over a bunch of things, but the video does a lot of what we said here tonight. So that type of Zoom will be more of a question and answer, because when somebody gets on that Zoom, they've already watched the first short video, they've been interviewed and qualified to move to the next step, and then they've watched a longer sales presentation. So that person is extremely qualified, right? And the beautiful thing about our marketing system is if you have 500 people that have opted into your system over the first few weeks, we can type out a message, right? One message, and with a click of a button, boom, all 500 people get the invite to the Zoom tonight at 6 p.m. or the Zoom on Sunday at 7 p.m. It's extremely powerful. Think about that. You don't have to call up. Think about if you had to get on the phone or on Facebook and message 500 people individually, excuse me, and invite them one-on-one to a Zoom. I mean, you couldn't even do that in one day, probably. Maybe you could, but it'd be very, very tedious. So that's the way, that's leverage. What I love to do is be able to work less and get paid more. I mean, I've had some vacations when I've been gone for a week and a half, almost 2 weeks, and had a ton of money come into my business because of leverage and using systems like this. So this is why I'm so excited, because this is the same opportunity each and every one of you have to work less but actually get paid more, right? So that's the final step, the Q&A Zoom, where people like myself, Kiara, some of our other leaders will be on there answering questions. We have pretty much handled every question, every type of maybe concern people potentially have when they're looking at this. So instead of doing 3-way calls or one-on-one sales presentations, we can answer everybody's questions all at once. If we have 300 people on a Zoom, we're not going to be able to speak to every person, right? But we can spend 20, 30 minutes answering questions and answer most people's questions. So that's why we're really excited. And it's all about, at this point now, we're all about duplication and scalability. Like, I couldn't even full on market my first year in Bitclub Network because I wouldn't have been able to handle all the people coming at me wanting information and wanting to learn more and get there. Like, I'm one person, right? You can't do it. I haven't even marketed full out yet. And it's incredible to think that, considering what we've done already without something like this. But now there's no limits to what we can do, because like I said, we can pack out a webinar with hundreds and hundreds of people every time we do it. And keep in mind, you're not going to have to be selling this. You're not going to have to be selling, telling, and explaining anything. We'll help you with lead generation. You can even buy traffic through the system, which is done for you completely on autopilot. And then on the back end, people like Kiara, myself, we'll do the presentation, or we'll answer the Q&A questions that come in. And then, we have video tutorials that help people get set up and get going. So it's really exciting. I want to just cover real quick. I see we have a bunch of questions probably coming in. If you have questions, start typing them in the chat, because I'm almost done. You have something, Kiara?
No, I just unmuted myself in case you want me to read any questions, but go ahead and finish what you have to say.
Yeah, I think I just want to go over the price points of how the marketing system, what it costs, and the money you can make on the front end from that. That's what I was going to end up with. Sound good?
Yes, please, because that's the first question we got.
All right, awesome. Yeah, so the marketing system itself, there's really two options. You can pay 97 per month and just have the capture page, the sales video, and the ability to contact your leads via text messaging. It's all done through a control panel, like a back office, which has video tutorials. And Don himself, who's just absolutely killed it in this industry, like we talked about before, is doing live trainings himself. They'll be recorded, and anybody that becomes a part of the marketing system will have access to Don's training, which in my opinion is worth the price of admission alone, just to have access to this guy and hear the way he thinks and the way he markets and builds teams. But that's just the lower level, 97 a month. And there's a higher end now where it's total of 250 per month. Now, when you do this, I call it the full on marketing arsenal, because when you do that, you become what's called a lead broker. All right. And for those of you that may know or may not know, I want to cover it real quick. In internet marketing, when you generate leads, your own leads, say you generate 100 leads, whatever type of form of marketing you do, it doesn't matter. You're going to originally normally get about 1 to 5% conversion. So, about 1 to 5 people will join your primary program or whatever you're promoting, right? Which is fantastic. It doesn't sound like a lot, but if you do that, you are insanely profitable just closing 1 to 5%. And that's great. But normally what will happen is people will buy within the first few weeks. Sometimes people buy the very first day or within the first 2, 3, 4 weeks at the most. So what happens to the other 95, 99 people that didn't buy into Bitclub, right? Normally they'll stay on your list. They may contact you 6 months later, 8 months later. I've had people contact me over a year and a half later and say, hey, I'm finally ready to get started. It happens, it's rare. Most of the time, the people on that list just sit there and do nothing for you because they're not interested, and that's fine. But being a lead broker with this marketing system, this is what's incredible. What Don and his team will do is they'll take those leads that don't get on board with us in Bitclub, and a little bit down the road a bit, they'll redistribute those leads to somebody who's promoting maybe a travel company, or they're in a business where the product is personal development, something obviously nothing related to Bitcoin. Because the 1 to 5 people that join you in Bitclub, there's a whole slew of other people that maybe are not interested in that for whatever reason. The timing's not there, but maybe something travel related catches their eye, or something in the health and nutritional industry, right? So it's a win-win situation, because every lead that you generate yourself, when Don and his team redistributes these leads, you get paid $2. So say you've built a database of 1,000 leads, which is not difficult to do. I've had days in my career where I've had over 1,000 leads come in 24 hours, like 1,100, 1,200. My best day probably was a little over 1,400 leads in 24 hours. It can be done, but just say 1,000 leads, however long it takes you to get there, a month, 2 months, 3 months, doesn't matter. We're going to teach you how to generate leads, like we said. Every time he redistributes those leads, you would get paid $2,000. And say he redistributes them 10 times throughout the next 12 months, that'd be $20,000 that you get paid for the work you did generating the leads. You're getting to monetize this work that you put in, which you normally wouldn't, right? And this is on the front end. This is before they even think about it. It's just pretty incredible. And that's $20,000 off for 1,000 leads. What if you generate a database of 5,000 leads, or 10,000 or 50,000 leads, right? Think about the revenue that will come in from this. And you might say, well, the bottom line is there's always people out there looking for leads. That's the lifeblood of any online business, and most people don't have a clue how to generate leads. So there's always a market for this type of product. And the most important thing for you to understand is you don't have to sell these leads to people. You don't have to go out there and say, hey, I got 100 of these leads. You want to buy them? You don't have to be pitching these leads on social media. You generate them, and we're going to teach you how to generate leads quickly and fast and quality. And then Don and his team redistribute them to somebody who will benefit from them. Because if he sells, 100 other leads of yours, and somebody makes 5 sales in their travel business, they're thrilled, they're happy. And they're going to come back to us and want to buy more data anyway, and that will pay you more as well. Now, the marketing system, like I said, for the full arsenal, it's $250 a month. And once you refer basically 3 people, it's free, because you get paid per month on anyone that uses the system. And anyone past that will pay you even more, because as the numbers grow, the residual income from the marketing system grows. Hopefully that makes sense. Now there's another way that you get paid. It's a 2-tier affiliate program too. So anybody on your team, when they start duplicating and they have people on their team want to use the system, you'll make the monthly commission as well. And also when their leads get redistributed, you don't make $2, but it's 50 cents. But it's the second tier, so that could be a lot of people on that second tier. I don't have time to go into it, but trust me, it could be a lot. Also, Don's system offers the ability for people to buy leads. Like maybe they don't want to generate their own leads, they don't have the time, and you'll make 40% on anybody on your team that buys traffic from Don and his system, 40%. So if somebody on your team, for example, buys $1,000 worth of leads, you'll make $400, okay? If they buy $500 worth of leads, you'll make $200. And his whole mindset is he wants to produce for people. The only way this works is if he delivers and he produces an ROI. It's the only way people will come back month after month after month. And that's why some of his systems have gone on, and produced tremendous results for years and years and years. Some of these other companies, unfortunately, they're no longer in business. But with Bitclub, we have longevity. Like, we're not going anywhere. We're way too big to fail at this point. We're one of the top 10 mining companies in the world, pretty much around the 7th or 8th biggest right now, and getting even bigger by the day. So hopefully I covered anything. I know we got questions. Is there anything else I missed, Kiara, before we go to questions?
No, I think the most important point was to cover the costs for what they were getting.
Okay.
I'm glad you covered that already, because that was the first question. What are the 3 price points?
Yeah, it's really morphed into 2. Originally it was 3, but it's really 2. So it's the 97 or about another 150 to have full 250, right? So it's about 253 per month for the full marketing arsenal. And by the way, guys, I've got a big team. So does Kiara. I've started to present this to my team, and I've 100% of the people on my team getting the 250, because you're just leaving so much money on the table if you don't get that. In my opinion. And the goal is for you to spend the 250 the first month, and then by the time the second month rolls around, you have so much profit to work with that you're paying the fees or the expenses for the marketing system 100% out of your profits, as opposed to having to come out of pocket for it. So it's not going to happen on its own, but it's a 50-50 type business relationship here. We're going to give you everything you require to just absolutely crush it. We're going to give you the game plan and the steps and what you need to do. But at the end of the day, you have to execute the plan that we lay out for you. We're not going to do it for you. I'm sure you guys all understand and respect that. But yeah, so we're excited about it. This is a big thing too that Don knows, and then we'll go to the questions. I know we got to get to questions, but since Don has so much experience in the network marketing industry, he knows a lot of people sometimes struggle with their primary program to get it off the ground. In the beginning, whenever you're launching any type of business, the beginning is always the most difficult. Think about a train leaving a station, to build up the momentum. It's the difficult, it takes the most energy to get going out of the train on the tracks. But as it's moving and rolling down the tracks and has all that momentum, it actually takes a lot less energy to move, right? Because it's already rolling down the track. So it's kind of the same thing when you launch a business. The beginning part, usually the 60 to 90 days in the beginning is the most challenging, right? So if you have this, which you want to do anyway for your business, right? No matter what business you're in, you want to generate leads. You generate leads, you're going to have sales on the back end. So you're going to do that anyway. Why not open up a whole new revenue stream on the front end before you even make any profits on the back end with Bitclub, which you will make a ton of profits on the back end with Bitclub, trust me. So I think that covers it. Anything else you wanted me to add?
Okay, so we have, after our initial purchase, say the first level, is it possible to upgrade later to the top level option at $250 per month?
Yes, you can. You could just start with the 97 and then upgrade at a later time. You're never forced to do anything here. That's why it's called, I love free enterprise. You have choices, you have options. We're never going to tell you what to do or you have to do this. We never do that. You can start with 97, then upgrade later. Yes.
Okay, and now I have someone asking, do invited prospects get invited to a 24/7 replay of this presentation, or regular live Zooms every week, or multiple times per week?
I'm not sure if I understand that question. Do they get invited to this Zoom that we just did, or the replays? Could you read?
If I'm understanding it correctly, I think he's talking about the last step in the marketing system. We send it to the Q&A. Those are going to be lives, correct?
They will be live, but we can also send out a link to the replay once we have the live one. If they can't make the live, you know, it's always better to be on a live Zoom like this, a live presentation, but things happen, kids get sick, life gets in the way. So we'll have the database, the marketing system, you'll know how many people have seen the sales video. We'll have a different kind of a list in your back office. So you may have 100 people that opt into the front video and watch the first video, and then however many watch the sales video. We'll know who's gone through the whole process, first video, interview, second video, and that'll be a separate list in your back office. So those people we can type out a message to and send them to the live Zoom invite, send a live Zoom invite out to them. And we can also then the next day or later that night say, hey, not sure if you were there or not, but here's a link to the replay just in case you missed it. And then they could watch it at 3 a.m. And, then you never know. The next morning you get an email or a text message saying, hey, this was awesome. I saw it last night after work. I'm in. How do I get started? So that's the whole point, having this thing work for you 24/7, even when you're not. So that's, that's a long answer to your question. But yeah, we can contact anybody that opts into the system. We can type out one message and blast it out to everybody. You can have 7,000 people on your list, and you take 5 minutes to type out a message, hit the button, it goes out to everybody at once. Very, very powerful. What's the next? Do you think I covered that good, or did I miss something?
Perfect.
Okay, what's the next question?
Ashen is asking tier 1 commissions, how much percentage do we get? I believe it's 50%, right? Because it's a tier 2 commission, tier 2.
Well, 40, it depends. See, this is pretty intricate too. Like the Bitclub Network comp plan, it's so intricate, it's difficult to cover everything. We don't have a ton of time, but I can tell you like when people buy traffic, it's 40% on the front tier for your front level people, and then it's 5% on the second tier. And 5% may not sound like a lot, but eventually you'll have hundreds and hundreds of people on that level. So those 5% commissions, they add up pretty quickly.
Yeah. And then can you repeat the 2-step process again? I think it's what the prospect goes through.
Okay, I'll do it very quickly. The first thing they're going to do is hit the first page. We call it a capture page, and there's a short video there. The video is just designed to spark their curiosity and get them curious enough to provide their cell phone number so they can get to the next step. And there's no choice. Either you give the cell phone number, you got to give people one path. You can't give them too much information, because then they'll get lost and they'll get confused and the focus is scattered. So after they watch the first video, it's a very short video, about 4 minutes. If they want to learn more, they provide their cell phone number, confirm their cell phone number with the PIN code. That makes it a double opt-in lead, which is very high quality. And then what will happen is they'll get interviewed by one of the people on our team that we've trained, and Don is trained, to see if they qualify to go to the next step. And some people won't qualify, and we just let them go, because we don't want to work with people that this isn't right for. And sometimes we have to challenge people in a way where if they're not showing that they're a good match, we can say basically something and basically be quiet and see if they fight for it. You want people that have moxie, people that have determination, they have drive, and they have passion, and they're fighters, as I like to call it. People that are willing to fight for their goals and their dreams. Not everybody is like that, but those are the type of people that are going to be self-motivated, self-reliant. You're not going to have to drag them to do anything. They'll do it on their own for the most part, especially if they have good guidance and good training. So the interviewer will basically be quiet at that point, and that person will either basically sell themselves to us or roll over and die. If they roll over and die, we just let them go. They're still on your list. They may get a message 2 weeks from now and the timing is right and they're in better spirits or whatever the case may be, and they still may join you. But at that time, they won't go to the sales video. So that's the so the sales presentation is the second step, and then the final step will be the Zoom, where like people like Kiara, myself are on there answering people's questions after they've been through the entire process. So hopefully that was clear.
Yeah.
What's the next
question? How to generate traffic to get mobile leads? Well, what you can do is you can buy leads through the system. So there's actually an option where you can. There's also a video that explains once you get inside the system on the dashboard. There's a video which shows you how you can actually buy traffic through the system. But then, James and I will have weekly Zooms, and for those of you that get the marketing system, you'll be able to join and see how we're going to be covering different methods. We're testing a few right now, and we obviously want to share the best one. So we're literally like digging into the trenches so that you guys can, you know, learn from us what is working.
Yeah. And actually, that was the last question, right?
Yep.
It's something I wanted to show, but definitely want to see what we have here. Those of you guys that were invited here, get back to the person who invited you here and, you know, get on board. Like, we're moving, we're ready to rock and roll, and we'd love for you to be there right there with us. There's actually something I wanted to share my screen with. So unless you got something else to say, it's just going to be real quick. Okay, cool. So yeah, this is just an article that was put out. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Bitcoin price headed to 500,000 in 6 years. So this is actually pretty conservative, this prediction. A lot of people have predicted it'll be there in 2 years. John McAfee, pretty bold prediction, thinks Bitcoin will be at least 1 million per coin by the end of 2020. But, you know, the bottom line is there's so many of these experts and these specialists that have been in the space way longer than I have, and they're way smarter than me, predicting this type of growth in Bitcoin and this type of value appreciation. So think about it. I mean, you have now this opportunity. You heard this information tonight. You know, we're in 2018. We're more than halfway through 2018. It's crazy. Tomorrow is August 1st already. Like, time flies, guys. You know that. But there's still an opportunity here, a massive opportunity. Just imagine, you know, Bitcoin being 500,000 a coin, and you heard about this vehicle that all it does is it's a magnet for Bitcoin and the other top cryptos. It's just it's a machine. It produces it for you in multiple ways, passively and virtually on autopilot. So I just encourage you guys to take this very seriously. Definitely get back to the person who invited you here and join us. I mean, we're ready to rock and roll with you. We're ready to show you everything we got and help you just absolutely crush this with us. So I just want to thank Kiara for hosting this call and sharing the stage together. It's always a blast. Love working with you. And that's pretty much all I have to say. If you wanted to close it out.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop sharing the screen.
Yeah, you can stop. It's up to you. It doesn't matter. So
yeah,
guys,
go ahead.
Thanks for joining. I'm going to mute my, can I mute him? You're the host.
What?
I made you the host for some reason.
Hold on, I'll give you the host back then.
I wanted to unmute Pete in case he wanted to say something.
Go ahead, I made you the host back, Kiara. You got it.
Got it. Don't seem to have it. Okay.
I'm here if you can hear me.
Is this Pete?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Can hear you loud and clear.
Perfect. Wow, that was fantastic. Yeah, I mean, you guys knocked it out of the park. All I can say is I was an extremely happy customer for a year before I even looked at the business. If I could go back, I would have done the business the moment I saw it. I'd probably be handing out Lambos to my friends right now. But I was a very, very happy customer. Made me feel really confident about it. Shared it with you and James. You know, introduced you to my upline, who's an incredible person. And I have never seen a program that duplicated like this, that we had such great upline support. You know, James had a system built. I was actually afraid to ever call Don because he makes such incredibly high-end systems. I was afraid he'd want like $100,000 to do it. And James has, you know, put the expense out there and created this. All we have to do is subscribe to it. So we don't have to pay or do all the hard work to have the system. All we have to do is subscribe and use it, which is incredible. And I'm very, very grateful for that because I've always loved Don's systems. They're amazing. And they're very cutting edge, and mobile marketing is much, much better than email marketing, in my opinion. But the comp plan's just incredible. These two are a perfect match. You know, I've never seen anything before where someone on my 50th level can come in and get some mining, and I get as much credit as the person that introduced them. That's unbelievable. And I can also tell you that I've personally met a few people in our company that are really the highest paid people I've ever met in this entire industry. And they haven't even been doing it that long, just a couple years, you know? So that blows my mind. You know, our upline in LA and Joby and a few other people have made, you know, tens of millions of dollars here. So, and they didn't do it with a system either. So our team grew like wildfire last year with really no strategy, no system at all. We were able to put thousands of people in. So with this technology and this strategy and these guys doing the work for you on the Zooms and stuff, it's going to be a no-brainer. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Pete.
Thanks, Pete. It's awesome working with you, man. Love you, brother.
Thank you, James. I appreciate you both so much. Excited to work alongside the two of you and all the people that decide to work alongside us. So really exciting stuff.
Yeah, without a doubt. And what time is it now, Kiara in Spain? I want to just tip my cap to you because it's super, super late there. It's got to be like
1:30 in the morning. In fact, I think the people who are online from South Africa went to bed.
Right. Okay. But awesome. I really appreciate your commitment to the team. So it's
always a pleasure.
Definitely.
Someone asked, how do we get the link to the product? In a sense, what you need to do is go to the person who sent you to this. So if you got an email, reply to that email. If you got a message on Facebook or you saw something on Facebook, just go back to where you saw the link to this presentation. Tell them to help you get started.
Yeah, and welcome to the team. Looking forward to working with you.
Awesome. All right, guys, I'm going to unmute all the lines so you guys can say bye, and I will close the call. But thank you so much for being here. You have no idea how much we appreciate it. I know that you all have busy lives, and you know that you actually make time to be here. So we appreciate that. So I'm going to unmute all the lines. You guys can say goodbye, and good night.
Good night, everybody. Have a great night.
Good night.
Thank you.
Goodbye, guys. Good night.
Good night. Good night from Nigeria.
Nice. Nigeria. Awesome.
Good afternoon here.
Where are you, my friend?
Vancouver.
Vancouver. There you go. Love it. You a Canucks fan?
No.
I'm a big hockey fan.
I follow hockey.
And that was supposed to be a temporary thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
All right, guys. Have a great night.
Taxes were supposed to be a temporary thing.
All right. Good night, everybody. I'm jumping off.
Yes.
Who did that?